Start off with a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic one nation, under God, indivisible,
justice for all.
justice for all.
Julie, would you do a roll call, please?
Sure. Supervisor Lant,
Here.
Deputy Supervisor McCachran,
Here.
Councilman Bogardus,
Here.
Councilman Culligan,
Here.
Councilman O'Connor.
Here.
Councilwoman.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman. My
You can call me
apologies.
whatever you want, Julie. I've been called worse.
Right. Would somebody want to make a motion to suspend the public comment? A second.
I'll make that motion. We suspend public comment for this month.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Passed. Everybody get a chance to look at last month's meetings, minutes from last month's meeting.
Yes.
Do you want to make a motion to accept them?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
All right.
Number 5, gonna accept accept maps, plans and reports. I need a motion to the Davison Drive Water District. And just so everybody knows, that doesn't cost the taxpayer anything. It's the residents that are hooked into it. Anything that you want to add to it, Mr. Mooney?
No, but the residents have approached the town to develop the district. We've produced the maps, plans, and reports. Mr. Shackner has reviewed them, and I believe they're complete and ready to go.
Mike, I have a quick question. Do people
Yeah,
have to pay that connection fee in one installment, or does the town work with them?
20 years, I think it was.
Yeah, that's correct. It's 20 years, so it's an additional assessment on their taxes for the next 20 years. So,
Okay.
yeah, so rather than a huge, whatever, $20,000 burden right away, it's an amount, it's like whatever the amount is, $800 for the next 20 years.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody want to make a motion to move this ahead?
I'll make a
moved.
motion to move forward.
Second?
Second.
I'm going to recuse myself from voting because I own a house on that street. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed.
So, and John, you know that all you've done so far is accepted the map plan and report. The next proposed item on the agenda is to schedule the public hearing on the creation of that district for our next meeting on August 6th. There you go.
So we got to, thank you, Mark. We'd
Make a
like to, somebody make a motion to have a public hearing August 6th.
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing.
All right, second.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Passed.
Thank you, Mr. Mooney.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks, Mike,
Thank you all.
thanks for everything you did and working with everybody down there. I know it was a lot of work.
All right. Thank you. Have a great night.
Get back to the golf course.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Number 7, you got the standard workday and reporting resolution. That's who works for any of the elected officials want to get on that state pension plan. I believe that's what it is, Maria.
Does this standard workday and report differ from what historically has been in place, Maria?
No.
Okay.
Can't hear Maria.
I can't hear either. There she is.
Here I am. Sorry, guys. Okay, So this is the standard form that's always filled out. There's not usually a lot of turnover. Our elected officials are usually on this for a while, so you don't see it very often. When there's a new public official and they want to participate in the pension system, this form has to be filled out and submitted to NISLRS, which is the New York State Local Retirement System. And it just outlines the number of standard work days that the person's pension is going to be based on.
Okay.
And it has to be approved by the board.
All righty. I'll make a motion to approve that resolution.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. You all got that copy of that letter from DOT about the few roads we have?
Yeah.
Right. You know, I'm not happy with that letter, and I'm drafting one up to send them with my feelings, and I think everybody's at the same feelings. My feeling is North Road, you can only drive 30, there isn't a house, but you can drive up Dimick Road 55, and then you go Jones at 50, you turn right to go to the mall, it's 45, and there's no house. It doesn't make no sense to me, but I'm gonna let Ryan explain more if he would about it.
Okay, I can go over the roads. Everybody, I don't know, I'm sure if they reviewed them, but Worth Road is how this started. I believe almost 2 years ago. Kirk Woodcock, the highway superintendent, requested that DOT evaluate the speed on roads that he did not have any record for setting speed limits. And DOT is the organization that sets up the speeds in the every town. There are a few towns that went through a legislative process and they can do it themselves, but Kirk requested this from DOT, so he had something in his files to justify the speed limits on these roads. For example, Worth Road, it's currently posted at 40. Based on DOT's review of the road, they feel that 40 is an appropriate speed. Waller Road, it's currently posted at 30 miles an hour, but based on DOT's review, they determined a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit and is appropriate for that road. North Road, as John mentioned, it's 30 miles an hour, and they determined 30 miles an hour is appropriate for that speed. And Blanchard Road, which is to the north in the town, which goes to the Wilton Monroe town line, is not a posted road. If there's no speed limit posting on a road, that means the road is 55 miles an hour. So they feel that is appropriate as well. For example, on North Road, as we all know, it's a very twisty, windy road. And, so that governs the speed, the houses, sight distance, residential homes. There's a lot of factors that go into this evaluation of the speed limits. And the state has guidelines that they go by, and they try to keep it consistent from town to town. That way you don't enter a different town and that same road all of a sudden changes from 50 miles an hour to a 30-mile-an-hour zone. So if you have any questions, hopefully I can answer them.
So I'm assuming, John, that you don't like their assessment based on when you compare them from road to road?
Well, I think, I just don't think there should be, my own feeling is I don't think there should be a town road in Wilton that you can drive 55 miles an hour on.
So what stops us from just putting a sign up?
Because you got to follow DOT rules and regulations. I think, Ray's going to make some calls. I'll let him handle this. And I got a couple towns you can talk to how they handle it. And maybe we should think about, I have a few retired state troopers, some other people. Maybe we could form a committee, put them in charge if there's something, let them look into it. But I think we should let Ray do his homework, see how he feels. It's going to be worth it.
Yeah, I had a conversation with the chief of staff at Kerry Warner's office about obtaining home rules so that we could set our own speed limits instead of the state of New York. And there's both ups and, an upside and a downside to doing that. So as Supervisor Lance said, we'll do some homework on it and, see if it makes sense for us to put ourselves in the position where we can set our own speed limits.
Anybody got anything else?
To me, that makes sense that it should be a local issue, but I mean, I don't see what ups and downs did you come up with? I mean, pros and cons.
Well, just very preliminarily, liability issues and an onslaught of people who come to the town with their requests saying, I want 20 miles an hour on my street, or I want 10, or I want 50. So there's going to be folks that aren't happy no matter what you do.
Well, I would think any kind of decision we're making is going to be a reduction, not an increase. I mean, I don't get the Waller increase from 30 to 40. That just...
Yeah. But I'll give you an example. So I live off of Edie Road between Ballard and Route 50. I drive, it's a windy road. There's houses on it. There's a couple of trailheads for walkers and a few intersections. And when I drive 45 miles an hour, it's not posted, so the speed limit is 55.
Yeah.
Which I think is absurd. But when I drive 45, I get people behind me flashing their headlights, beeping their horn. I've had somebody cross the double yellow line to pass me. And, and again, there's, folks are going up and down that road 60, 65 miles an hour. And the rest of Edie Road from Route 50 all the way down to the Saratoga Springs city line is 45. Ryan, when you're going through the criteria, I'm going to guess one of the criteria is not common sense in the DOT's criteria.
Well, sounds to me like you need a bumper sticker that says, I may be slow, but I'm ahead of you.
Yesterday, there was another accident at Ballard and Northern Pine. And I got some emails, and I've called Keith Mance about this before. And I don't know if any of you got an email from people about it yesterday, the accident.
Yeah, what happened? I saw the email.
They're tragic when they hit
Well, that's about 4 or 5 accidents there in the last 2 months, and there's been people killed at that intersection. So I called Keith yesterday. He said he'd look into it. So before I called him, I said, I'm going to drive down there. Maybe they should put double stop signs, and they are there. And I called him this morning, and I suggested they put a 4-way stop sign on Ballard and Northern Pines, but that's another state thing and this and that.
Yeah.
But he's told me he will get right on it, do a survey and try to come up with maybe lower the speed limit on Northern Pines Road heading north coming to it. I don't know the answer, but there has been a lot of accidents. I can remember Dwayne can probably remember this. At Ingersoll and Loudon, we used to have multiple car accidents. They finally got them to put 4 stop signs. 95 of those accidents stopped. Remember that, Dwayne?
Oh,
those accidents we used to have there.
It was
You
100%.
can get a flashing yellow light at the stop sign just to accentuate the stop sign.
I suggested that too. But
Yeah.
most accidents are human nature. They're not paying attention or on their phone, but
Oh, absolutely.
What time was that accident on?
About 1 o'clock.
yeah, I went by there about lunchtime. I see it. It was a three car with a truck rolled over on Ballard Road.
There's some points when you try to take a left-hand turn and the sun actually blinds you.
Yeah.
You have no visibility at all because of the sun.
So Ray will look into that, and I'll do some more studying, and next month we'll come back with something. All right?
I say just put up 30-mile-an-hour signs everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's go to horse and buggy.
You can start on Smithbridge Road, because ours is 45, and you're right, they do about 70.
Yeah, especially on the curve.
Yeah.
I've even called the troopers, state police, and sheriff's department, put radar on some of these roads. I see sometimes they do, but Everybody's in a hurry today.
Actually, the only thing that really does slow it down sometimes are them speed limit signs. I mean, I know some people like to race them.
Yeah.
But they do work.
I thought they were to calibrate your speedometer.
Well, I think most people do slow down when they see them because they think they're taking pictures of their license plate.
Oh, absolutely.
Dwayne does not.
Because I know what you do when you go up to them, Dwayne. All right, number 9, we have a reappointment of Park and Rec Commission. Motion required for Dan Warren for 8/1/20 to 7/31/23.
I have an issue. I just think that I sat on a few of them rec commissions, and I think he's been delinquent on quite a few of them. And I think, according to their bylaws, that it's a requirement that you can't miss more than 2. I'd assume not to reappoint based on that. And I don't know how.
Motion.
Yeah,
Got a
John,
motion?
I can help you find people too that may be more committed to it.
Good.
It's,
Got a motion?
I make a motion not to reappoint.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed.
No, not passed.
Huh?
Didn't pass, right?
The motion passed not to
Okay.
Reappoint him.
Right.
There you go.
Number 10, we have a presentation, ZBA, David. Can't say
Ward.
that one.
Couard,
How you say it?
Couard,
Couard. Need a motion to accept it?
Make
So
a
moved.
motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Number 11, resignation of Lenny for Bobbin from the Ethics Board. Need a motion to accept that?
I'll make a motion to accept this resignation.
Second.
Second.
How many people does that leave us on the
I'll
ethics
get to that in a
commission?
minute. I'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
We've got some people, I got at least one serve on that, but I think we're down to 1. So I'm gonna call him, and I got another guy who wants to get appointed to a board. So I'm gonna get a hold of him tomorrow, maybe someday for next month. They can come up for an hour, two of you at a time can interview him. And if you know anybody else, we need probably 3 other people on the ethics board.
Do we have a breakdown? I know it's supposed to be,
Can't be all the same party.
that's what I'm saying.
And there cannot be a majority of one party on there.
That's what I'm saying. Do we have a breakdown like Republicans, Democrats, Independents, so we kind of know how to put it out there?
I think right now we only got, there's only 1 on it now,
yes,
really?
There's
right,
only one person on the board?
right.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
Wow.
and we have a second, I got a letter from a second person,
Okay.
so we're gonna need another 3.
Okay.
So if you know of anybody who wants to serve,
So pretty much we're looking for one of everybody.
right.
Okay.
Is all that in favor of accepting Lenny's?
Aye.
Committee reports?
Want me to start?
Yep.
Okay, senior center is going well. The seniors are loving their lunches and they can't wait to get back into the building. I told Robin we'd let her know as soon as possible when that would look like it could happen. Has anybody heard a date or anything?
No.
Me either. The short-term rental, I did draft a first round draft. Got some feedback on it. Dwayne was having trouble downloading it. Mark Shatner, did you get the copy the email?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. Obviously that's going to be some time to work on, but just wanted you all to know that that was getting started. And then I spoke with SEDC about a client they had coming in town for exit 16. Well, exit 16 is on their radar for possible development. Obviously with COVID, that's been pushed back because it is an international client, but I'm still staying on top of it because it would be great. It'd be a good fit, I think, to be up there. I also did a little bit of research on that Champlain Hudson after we went over it last month. My opinion from what I've talked to people about and heard is that we may want to make sure that the Sarasota County IDA is involved. They haven't heard from them in 3 years. So it's confused as to the lag in between them being at our meeting last month, looking kind of for a resolution soon when the IDA hasn't heard from them. I talked about how, in the last meeting, we were concerned because we don't have a town tax, we won't make anything on them coming in.
Don't agree.
I think it's awful considering because we're fiscally responsible that we're not really necessarily getting much in return. However, our 3 school districts will be. And as long as the IDA is involved, Champlain Hudson will have to do RFPs to local contractors and businesses and employees. So even if the town might not be getting anything, we may be getting jobs. So I'm hoping that we can have that conversation when we need to kind of get the county's involvement to get the most out of it for the town that we can.
Ryan, didn't you say they offered something?
Well, when we talked to them back, I think it was early March when we spoke to the guy, we talked about that trail connection and, he didn't seem to have a problem with that, making that trail connection. But also, I think there was some further discussion, payment in lieu of taxes. And I think we got to look at it legally and see what can be requested from this organization.
Erin and I had a conversation the other day where she was filling me in on what she just mentioned to the rest of the board. And I called Jim Carminucci, who's legal counsel to the IDA, and he's also legal counsel to the Sarasota County Capital Resource Corporation that I'm part of. And I asked him about the possibility of adopting a utility tax that would apply to this company, that in addition to the revenue that would be generated for the county and the school districts, might also generate income for the town. So Jim said he would do some research on that because he would be handling their application if it comes to the IDA as well. So there's a possibility that we might be compensated in some way.
I believe Mark Schachner would like to speak.
Yeah, if I could ask a question, did somebody say that they had been in contact with the IDA, but several years ago?
Yeah, when I talked to SEDC, they hadn't heard from them for 7 years.
Wow.
It was back in 2013 when we spoke with, actually, I think when Ray contacted with the IDA, they haven't heard really much from them in the last 3 years. So it kind of made me wonder what was last month about if we don't have this connectivity going on through the county even yet. So maybe kind of want to pump the brakes a little bit while we get it figured out. What's that, John?
He was looking for a freebie last month.
Yeah, and, it's a $43 million project coming through the town. I think we need to just make sure we do our homework and our due diligence to see what, if any, benefit, but at least we can explain to people.
So you're saying 43 million just in the town of Wilton?
According to that 3-page document he gave us, it's 6.8 miles. I think the price tag was 43.7.
Because he was saying that it's $200 million just for a converter. So this project is huge.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
the total cost of the project is $300 billion.
Right.
and that converter, so when I was looking into it, that was the correct price. But they were also looking to, down in Bethlehem, do some work on their substation to possibly tap into it. So there is,
Then there's room
there's
there.
other stuff going on that I think we just
I think
want
you're
to keep
right.
an eye on.
We should definitely not be penalized for being,
Fiscally responsible. I know
Right.
we asked him some tough questions last month that he danced around and didn't really answer. He had said that we would have local people employed installing this and this and that. But then when we said that they usually use certain
Well,
contractors to do this, he kind of danced around it. He really didn't answer a lot of John DeMai's questions at him.
Right.
Which kind of raised a red flag that he's not going to be employing local people to work on this, because I know as a business, you would employ your own people. You won't go piecemeal it out as you go along.
Yeah. And the only leg we have to stand on with local contractors, having at least being able to do a request for an RFP, is if the IDA, Saratoga County IDA, is involved.
so you proved them wrong already just by what little research you did on the IDA. Or not little research, but he obviously didn't, he lied to us if they haven't.
I wouldn't say he lied, but I would certainly say that, yeah, maybe not.
He didn't tell you everything.
Didn't lay it all out.
We weren't completely informed.
So I
Yeah,
just wanted to bring that up. I know it's not on the agenda tonight, but I'm sure it may be coming back. Just to let you know that the feeler is out in the county. And I just made the meeting twice as long as it already was. Sorry.
Thank
Well,
you.
good. It's great information, though.
I'll keep working
Yes,
on
it
it.
was. Anybody else? Well, it's court building going, Dwayne.
Court building, we are actually moving along. Unfortunately, obviously, we're having a little difficulty with the paving of the front of it. I know when Judge Worth's procession came through, it would have been nice to have everything nicely paved. We're having issues trying to get a contractor to come in and pave it. We may end up seeing if we can get highway to do it, but we're working on that. Everything is all done on the interior except there's one room. The utility closet and staff bathroom is not finished. As you saw during Judge Worth's procession, the signage on the exterior of the building is new and it's up on it. There is one little issue with the building. I would like probably Ryan kind of knows about it. Sorry to throw you under the bus there, Ryan. Last year we had an ice buildup. We were talking possibly a gutter system and everything. Over the northern main entrance door, we have an ice buildup. So we're looking at trying to rectify that. I know on the south main entrance door, we have an overhang that covers the door to protect it from weather. But on the north side, we don't. So we're trying to, Scott and I are trying to come up with a way to mitigate that, whether it's as simple as a gutter, or we might actually revisit putting an enclosure kind of like we do on the south. But that's a discussion. So as far as the interior, everything is pretty much done except for the staff bathrooms and mop closet, and we are upgrading the air conditioning for the staff side of the building. Other than that, it's pretty much done.
Right. Anybody got anything else?
Yeah, Supervisor Land, I have something, I want to get a consensus of the board of an issue that the highway superintendent called me about yesterday. His mechanic had to go out of town, and in returning from out of state, actually, has to be quarantined for a couple of weeks. And for those mechanical repairs for which he doesn't have anybody on board who's qualified, He'd like to bring another mechanic on board, but I suggested that for the quarantine period, that he farm out those repairs rather than bringing another mechanic on staff. But I did mention to him, that I would talk with the balance of the board. So I said I'm inclined to, during this period, when the mechanic is away, to farm that work out as opposed to hiring another
I
mechanic.
agree. I agree too, Ray.
Work alone?
What's that?
Doesn't he work alone? In
Uh,
himself?
Not always. I think he does much of his work on his own, but there are some, larger jobs you need a second set of hands, to help you with.
I just don't see the purpose of quarantining if you're in a building by yourself.
But we talked about that as well, but he said that he often will work closely with somebody else on a job where there's some
I also don't understand why we can't get the front of the court building paved by the highway department. We're looking to farm it out.
I don't know the answer to that. The first I've heard of
Question,
it.
John.
I mean, we're short on funds for a lot of reasons, and even to think about getting a quote on paving, something that we do for our town does for a living. I just don't get it. So
That makes sense to me.
Ray, what was your comment earlier about common sense?
So the question is, I'd say you're right. We should farm it out. I certainly don't want to hire somebody else to come in and to do a job because somebody went away out of the state and has to be quarantined.
Yeah. It's just like if the mechanic was on vacation, you wouldn't hire somebody to take his place. You'd plan for it and
Yeah, somebody said it right. Common sense is.
Anything else?
So do we need, does he need an answer on this, Ray, now, or?
no, I'll get back to him.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
we're not
all
taking a
agree?
vote or anything like that.
Do we all agree with Ray?
Absolutely.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, so Maria, do the controllers report.
So the budget transfers, which is the first item. There are 4 elements to the budget transfers, and I just wanted to walk them through so that there's no questions. The first item is for the senior center, and we had budgeted for an exhaust hood to go over the stove. There are some incidental expenses related to that that were not budgeted for in this year's budget, which was electrical. So we're just adding to that account from their contractual expenditures, minor equipment. So we're just moving money from one account to another, but from the same department. And I can go through all 4 of these items, and we can vote once if that's okay. Just makes it go easier. And the second item, Camp Saratoga, we had budgeted for a larger project for the dam. In our conversations throughout the year in response to COVID, we decided that perhaps there's a less expensive way to approach the project. So I'm using some of that money that is freed up, quote unquote, freed up, to cover unexpected expenses for tree removal. Unfortunately, there was a lot of work that needed to be done over at Camp Saratoga that couldn't be done in-house because of the fact that the trees were damaged in such a way that they were suspended in air, they were tangled, and for one of our guys, 2 of our guys, a team of our guys to go over there and try to remove the trees themselves presented potential for injury. So we decided to farm that out, and we had quotes that we received, and Adirondack Tree Surgeon came in with the least price.
Maria, I'm sorry, did you say that was from the tornado damage?
It was,
Damage or just?
I believe the majority of it was the tornado.
It was. I took a tour over there with Scott, and he was
I was
showing
over there myself.
prior to asking for the additional money. Scott showed me all that, and it was from the tornado damage. We had trees that were split and hanging in other trees, and it was not beneficial for our town employees to attempt the removal. So we did farm that out. He did inform me that's what he was looking for. Maria, just on 2 and 4, we are putting that in our, possible FEMA reimbursement for the tornado, correct?
Absolutely, yes. And
Okay,
in
that was my
addition,
question.
yeah, and in addition to that, some of the damage at Camp Saratoga involved the roof of one of the structures, and because it involved an asset on the ground that is insured, we may be getting some money from our insurance company as well.
Okay.
So the
Thank you.
third item is related to more brush and weeds cleanup in the Indian Springs subdivision on Maya and Gaylor in that general vicinity. We had some trees on land that's owned by the town that had to come down. So again, Adirondack Tree gave us the least expensive quote, and we went with them to take care of that. The fourth item is, again, brush and weeds, but this time related to the grinding and the chipping that we're doing.
That was a big pile up there in our property.
Right.
Which is still associated with the tornado stuff.
We
Yes.
will,
Yes. So those were items 1 through 4 for budget transfers, just taking money that we already have appropriated in various areas and moving it to areas where we now need to really spend the money.
I'll make a motion, we approve budget transfers 1 through 4 as read.
I'll second that.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Your
you.
microphone's out, chief.
You just have to be really close. Okay.
It passed.
Okay.
So the second item is the budget amendments, and we are moving some money because we are getting money from Saratoga County. We were awarded a grant from Saratoga County, so we're recognizing the revenue here as well as the expenditures for a design for the footbridge at Camp Saratoga. So it's basically putting the revenue on the books and recognizing the expenditure. So obviously the net is 0 to the town's position. The second and third items are related, and it's the same money, but it's presented in 2 different places because it's going to be accounted for in 2 different funds. So item number 2 is related to taking money from an appropriated fund balance, and we're going to transfer to the capital projects fund. We're transferring an amount of $4,500 to the capital project fund because there's a study being done for the parking lot. CT Mail is doing a study to help us determine if there's a possibility for additional parking that we can create at Gavin Park. And so item number 3 is the flip side, which is the capital projects fund is recording the transfer in from that general fund that we just discussed in item 2. So we're just taking $4,500, recording it as a transfer on the general fund side, and we're also recording the transfer in on the capital project side.
Where is that parking lot? Which one? By the pavilion in the back, or
Yes.
which one?
Way in the back of the pavilion.
Remember where that building was?
Yeah,
Well, now it's in back of there.
okay.
By the T-ball field, I believe it was.
Yes, yes.
That's a lot of asphalt. Would the town be paving that too, or are we gonna have to contract that out?
No, hopefully the town pays it.
We've
Along
already
with-
spoken to some people in the highway department, and they have the ability and the desire to help us out with that.
Hopefully they
also
do the
looking at
court.
Aaron, we're looking at this as a possible solution to having to rent field space for parking. So we're hoping this will offset the additional field that we have to rent.
Instead of the Vinsec field?
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Want to make a motion to approve 1, 2, 3 and the amendments?
I'll make the
So
motion.
moved.
Second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we talked about the blacktop at the court building. All right, the blacktop, we will be buying the blacktop the same as we would if the highway did it. The only thing we'll be paying is labor. And I'll give you all a call why. Okay?
You don't have to call me, I know.
All right.
I don't know anything. You'll have to call me.
All right. Is anybody, Julie
Yes.
did one heck of a job for us. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Supervisor, I'd like to note, Sue has been listening in. She's listening in, so
She
Yeah.
approve it? She approve it?
How do we do, Sue?
Get better, Sue.
Yeah,
She's-
be strong,
I've
Sue.
Text her.
Don't miss us too much.
we knew she couldn't stay away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Or she's that bored already.
She's still in the hospital.
Somebody want to
she-
make a,
And now,
She texted.
how long are we doing this Zoom meetings? Do we have an idea yet, or?
I think forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in at least another month, at least maybe 2. And I think we should all agree on, I get a lot of phone calls, people complaining about Gavin Park basketball, but I think we should all agree it's mainly for the safety of our residents, and we should all agree to follow the state guidelines and their dates. I don't believe it's right, but I think that's what we should go by. Go with.
Which
Can't go
one?
wrong if you follow the guidelines.
Whichever one they make. I mean, it'll probably change tomorrow, but that's just my feeling.
Absolutely.
And our ultimate goal of making sure these kids get back to school safe and healthy in September.
That's right. That's right.
Especially since this seems to be resurging in other areas in the country. I mean, if we're too proactive, then it's okay if we can protect, our citizens and everybody. I mean,
Right.
kind of a pain in the neck not being able to use some of the facilities and
I
stuff.
know it is. I feel bad for everybody, believe me. I know we all do.
But I've also seen an increase of people walking and exercising in the neighborhoods as opposed to the park. So it's kind of nice to see them back in the neighborhoods also. So I support keeping the park closed and reopening on schedule according to the county and CDC.
Good. Does everybody feel the same?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, good. Somebody want to, yes, sir.
No, I'm giving you my hands up. Okay.
All right. Somebody want to make a motion to,
I'll make a motion. We adjourn and dispense of reading of the minutes and
right.
adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Last, everybody have a good night and thank you all.
Everybody have
For
a great
everything.
holiday.
July.
Happy
Good job. Good 4th of July,
Safe.
everybody.
Have a good for it.
Thanks, John.